Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Spiritually Fucked podcast. I'm your host, Taylor Mulholland. Let's get into the show. The work has been working. Hello, everyone. I missed you. I was gone last week in an impromptu trip that was super serendipitous and beautiful and is the reason why I am recording this podcast today. So, the work has been working. What I was reflected back this weekend. And I have to say, I had the most magical weekend in Sedona at a women's retreat. And the story of how it came to life is pretty magnificent. And it brought me to the conclusion that the work has been working. And if you've been following along this journey with me, I mean, even if you look at the beginning of my podcasts, the first couple episodes, they were literally all about spiraling and low self-worth and just struggles. They were all struggles. And I've been very open and transparent and honest about all of it because I want to be here to help you. And I can say that it's now October. It's about 7 weeks later when I first started, and oh my God, my life has changed and the work has been working. And I really want to inspire you if you are in a moment of spiraling or doubt, or something is telling you that the work you're doing is not working. Just keep doing it. Unless you're doing the wrong work. And if you are doing the wrong work, then I don't know what to tell you, but the message behind this is that the micro shifts make the big impact. And if you follow me on Instagram, I created a super poetic post that I'm going to post later. So, and also post all my Sedona pictures because, okay, here's a story. I grew up in Arizona my entire life for 25 years of my life. And I have been to Sedona one time, two times now, because this retreat was the second time, but oh my God, it's like amazing. I could not believe it. And I'm so mad at myself for not taking advantage of it when I was so close, less than 2 hours away. But now when I went back, I really was like, holy smokes, like I really appreciate this. I get what the hype is. I get the hype, people. Okay. So let's get into it. I brought my notes because I'm a professional. And I've been going through identity crisis after identity crisis. And that brings me back to like the first couple podcasts that I've been doing. It's like I was just going through so much mishap and I didn't know what to do with it. And so I decided to start a podcast so I can share these stories with you because we are, or at least I believe we are all here to walk each other home. And we walk each other home through stories, not by telling each other how to walk. At least in my viewpoint. I don't know. Has anyone ever told you to do something and you actually want to do it? It's like, no, you get inspired through other people's journeys and stories. And so I was living in shit. That's what my note says. I was living in shit. And then I remembered I have radical responsibility to change my life. And so I did. And I actually remember the shifts, the physical shift that happened. And it was during a podcast I was recording. And I think it was the podcast where I said, when the world is falling apart. And this podcast was inspired for when you look at the world and it looks like it's falling apart. And then you remember you have radical responsibility. And I remembered I have radical responsibility. And so I took that moment to change and to shift. And it, the feeling of change felt instant. But when it starts to reflect into your life, isn't so instant. So you can change your energy, your frequency at any moment of the day, but that doesn't mean your environment is going to change immediately. And it just is a reminder to keep doing the work, keep working on your frequency because it will change your environment eventually. And from the story of that I'm going to share with you on this podcast was the environmental shift that I experienced from doing the internal work. And when you start or you go on these healing journeys or transformational journeys, it may not be an overnight shift. And it could feel stagnant for a while. And you could be faced with those lessons after lessons after lessons. And you're like, wait, didn't I quote unquote heal this? Aren't I moved past this? And then you get another lesson that reminds you, no, you have not. But it's the moments you take those lessons or those hardships and you remember that this is part of the spiritual gym. This is the growth I am needing through challenges. And I'll tell a story, but I'm going to backtrack for a bit. So, there was this retreat I wanted to go on. And I was following Alyssa, who was the facilitator of the retreat. It was her retreat for a few years now. And she was posting this retreat in Sedona, and I was like, oh my God, I want to go on this retreat. Everything about it is just so magical. And you just get called to certain things. And I was really, really called to this retreat, but I was just nowhere in a place where I could just drop a couple grand and go on this retreat. You know, I've had just a lot of other responsibilities this year. So it just wasn't a smart financial move, but my soul was like dying and being called to go on this trip. And then I found out my friend Stephanie was on this trip. Like, she was a co-facilitator, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? That's another sign to go. And then I just let it go, but then I kept staring at the retreat page, and then there was like one spot left, and I was like, oh, I want that to be my spot. And then she was like, oh, it's taken. And then I was like, fuck, I wanted that to be me. And I really, really, really wanted to go on this retreat. And I kept imagining myself there, whether that was my soul calling me there or whether that was me manifesting myself there. I don't fucking know how it works, but I just really wanted to go on this retreat. But then I let it go. And, I knew about this retreat probably for the past like 4 or 5 months, however long it's been out. And of course, I said that I've been sitting in my shit for a little bit. And so I've been doing this work for the past 4 or 5 months, specifically really, really deep into it about a month ago. As in, when I say really deep into it, like, I am so fucking dedicated into making sure my frequency is staying high, making sure that I'm taking every challenge I'm faced upon as an opportunity to grow. I'm creating less consuming, because another part of me spiraling was because I was just fucking consuming too much, and my brain was like a tornado of just other people's information, and then it made me doubt mine. And I really have just taken full responsibility for my intuition again, for my gifts, and have just stepped into this adulthood of myself. And that's really what happens during your Saturn return, is it's stepping into your adult self. And I'm also in astrology school, which I'm obsessed with, so I'm doing something that is a passion of mine. Oh, I'm also in band. I'm in a band now, so I'm doing singing lessons, I'm doing drumming lessons, I'm doing things that light me up. And so, okay, I wanted to go on this retreat, but I let it go. And then last week, Alyssa freaking DM'd me on Tuesday, hey, we have an open spot. Can you get here on Thursday? Literally a 2-day notice, and I've never had a trip turn around this quick. And oh my God, everything about me was like, yes. And at first, I noticed myself say, oh, let me think about it. If anyone else wants to go on it, like, you give it to them. And then I immediately go, nope, just kidding. I lied. That spot's mine. I'm going. And I made the decision to go because it lit me up. It was a decision that felt expansive. As much as my ego wanted to come in and say, oh, you can't afford that, you don't want to spend the money, blah, blah, blah. I could have made every excuse. It was too soon. It is out of my financial reach, which is a lie. It was not. It just is what my mind thought where money should go. And I could have made every excuse not to go. It was so last minute. She called me on Tuesday, and I was supposed to leave on Thursday and be there on Thursday. And I said, fuck it. I'm just going to go and figure it out, all the details out in the meantime. I said yes to my soul, and everything fell into place so perfectly. It ended up being not financially unreasonable. Like, it was super, just everything fell into place, like great. And I could have let my ego talk me out of it and say, oh no, like don't go, me. And I said no, because my soul, it felt expansive in my body. And so that is my soul telling me to go. And I've been wanting to go. I mean, obviously, I told you, I've been thinking about it for so long. And it's funny because this retreat was all about stepping into your higher self. And this put my higher self to test. And so I said, fuck yes to my healing journey and to my growth. And life said, fuck yes back. And life said, fuck yes back. And this was just one of those universal surprises that the work has been working. Another reason why this was such a universal surprise, or like a gift from God rewarding me that the work has been working, was because that morning I woke up from a horrible night of sleep paralysis and night terrors. And of course, the day before, I launched my class, Energy Hygiene, because my energy hygiene has been something that has been so valuable into my life. And if something is valuable into my life, I want to share it with others and I want to teach the world. And so I've been super into my energy hygiene practice for the past 11 years. And especially this year, it's been so important. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do a class on it. As soon as I decided I wanted to do a class on it, I made the post, I made the podcast. I, of course, get one of those hard shit lessons to remind me to keep doing the work. And that night, after I posted it, I had an entire night of sleep paralysis and night terrors. And the whole point of energy hygiene is to avoid yourself from stepping into those things and to protect yourself from those things. And the fact that I posted this class and then that night, I woke up, or at least through that entire night, I was just like, what the fuck? I'm a fraud. This is not working. I can't teach a class on this. And then I was like, oh, this is one of those hard lessons that is going to push me into growth. And it was like another training session at the spiritual gym. I showed life just by through demonstration and through example that I wanted to teach on energy hygiene. Well, life is going to reflect back and help me grow into that. If that is my soul mission, life is going to hand me challenges to help me grow into that. And so I looked at it, I woke up and was like, oh my God, this is the most magical medicine I could have gotten. I could have said, oh my God, I'm a fraud. It's not working. The work I'm doing is not working. But then I was like, wait, this is amazing because I'm going to take every single thing that I learn. I'm going to put it into practice. So when I go to bed tonight, I know there's not one fucking demon coming into my room. There's not one night terror that's happening in my brain. Like, I totally switched my point of view. Instead of resisting, I started to receive. And that is the divine feminine. And I did post another post about this that day because the feminine isn't always about receiving all the good and surrender. It's about receiving all the bad and surrendering to all the shit that you face. It's not just about, receiving the good. You have to learn how to receive the bad too and know that you're strong enough to handle it. It's surrendering in your softness. It's having strength in your softness. And I was being put to the test of having strength in my softness. And that softness was sleep. You're the most vulnerable when you sleep. And if you go to bed and you're having sleep paralysis and night terrors, you're just not strengthening your energetic field. And I'm literally posting a class to strengthen your energetic field. And then I have this night's sleep of night terrors. It's like, I need to strengthen that so I can therefore teach others to strengthen. So I woke up and was like having all these revelations. And this was the same day, by the way, Alyssa called me. So I wake up on Tuesday and I had an entire night of night terrors. And then I had this realization where I said, oh my goodness, I'm open to receiving everything life gives me, whether it's good or bad. And then that's when Alyssa was like, hey, we have a spot open. Can you come to my retreat? And I was like, oh my God. When you open yourself up to everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, you are allowing everything in, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But when you're resistant, you want to be resistant to the bad and the ugly, you're missing out on the good. Because to surrender is to surrendering to all. And to receive is just receiving all. You can't pick and choose what life hands you. You can only control how you respond, how you react, and how you live in your frequency. And I am choosing and have chosen to live in a frequency of receptivity and live in a frequency of receiving things for my highest good, whether it's good and whether it's bad. And when I started to embody that, life rewarded me with a treat. And that treat was the retreat. And it ended up being the most magical, potent weekend that I needed because, again, I'm on this healing journey. We're always on a healing journey, but I'm in this place where I'm doing so much work. This weekend was a reminder that you still need to step into the work and embody it. And this retreat was an embodied retreat because, I live in Colorado. I do a lot of work internally. All my work is literally internal. I don't have a big community here, so I'm not really out and about in the community. It's either online or I'm journaling or recording a podcast by myself or doing yoga by myself or breathwork by myself. But to do it in a group, that's when you're reflected back. That's when you're surrounded by hundreds of mirrors. Well, this weekend there was only 13. To reflect back how you are living and breathing. And the most comment I got this weekend was, Taylor, you are so free-spirited. And that comment made me want to cry because I feel right now this year, I've felt so chained and confused of who I was. And I was surrounded by people who were confusing me for who I was, or I was trying to, morph myself into someone who is digestible. And I felt lost. And so this past month, I've really been embodying and stepping into who I truly am and doing work to release the chains and the layers of my past self of who I thought I had to be. And this weekend, I was shown that the work is working. And when someone said that, I was like I was thrown off guard. I'm like, wait, really? Me? She's like, yeah, you're just so yourself. And I'm like, really? I didn't even know it. And it felt really good. And that's what happens when you put yourself out there and you're surrounded by women or men. You're surrounded by anything. And for as much as I wanted to recluse and stay inward and hide from the world, that's okay sometimes, but I was put back out there and I was gifted with reflection, and that reflection ended up being really beautiful. And something that Alyssa said is, I'm probably going to botch it, but it made so much sense in my brain, is of course the world wants to infiltrate you with the idea that you are in competition with women and there's not enough room for all of us and to compete with each other. It's because when we come together, we become so much more powerful. And people should fucking be scared of that. So, of course, the patriarchy or whatever the fuck you want to call it, society, wants to portray this image, like in reality shows, that women should be against each other and in competition. Because when you actually get together and you love one another and you support each other, you realize how fucking powerful it was. And it's like a magnet. Like if I was put in a container with these women who are on the same journey I am, which is all just self-discovery and stepping into our own truths. And it was magnified. And it was so fucking fun. I'm like, whoa, this is what it's like to be around like-minded people. Because right now I'm not around like-minded people. I'm alone in Colorado, or I'm with my family, which not every family is reflecting back love and light. You sign your soul contract to live with these people because you're meant to grow. And I've been doing a lot of growing and a lot of stepping into myself through that. But this weekend was a gift from God because it was showing me that the work I'm doing is working. And I came back from that weekend so inspired, just so in awe, so in love with how different everyone is and how beautiful and how it's such a gift that everyone is so different. And we can get so obsessed and so into our own internal image of how people should be or how people should live. And we forget the beauty and the diversity. And I did catch myself because I have my own views and opinions about everything. And then you get out into a group of women that you love and you see how different their views are. And you realize, oh my God, it makes me love them even more because they're different. How inspiring is that? And we thrive in community. We're not meant to be solo here. It's good for solo journeys, for self-growth, but when we are in groups, we grow. I mean, granted, I was fucking exhausted the whole weekend because my energy was elsewhere and all over the place, and we didn't want to go to bed because we wanted to stay up all night talking and drinking cacao, and I was just drinking so much coffee, and it was so fun. I was ready to come back to integrate because I was tired. I was just so tired, and that is something that I love, the duality of life, of going inward and then going outward, because I just get tired because I get so excited with others, and then sleeping arrangements, you don't always sleep the best, and then you're up early for the 5:30 a.m. hikes, and you're just so in awe with life, and then you come back, and the question is how do you keep that high? Because I could just go back to my regular life and not embody or integrate what I learned on that retreat, but then I'm going to be needing another retreat in a few months. It's this constant cycle of dopamine hits that you crave, and I've been there. I'm not going to lie, but I'm taking a turn. I'm stepping into my adult self where I am learning that when you integrate the small, tiny little shifts, it comes back with a tidal wave of healing. And I am in the tidal wave of healing. Just looking back at this year, oh my God. Granted, I'm not perfect and I still have things to work on, but the tiny little micro moment shifts that I do every day, it's fucking working, you people. You people. So, the most potent thing I took from this trip is that I am more myself than I thought I was. I am more free spirited than I thought I was. And being silly is a fucking gift. And I forget that because I've been shamed in the past or told I'm not funny or told to stay in a box to become more digestible. And it just is fucking bullshit. It is. When you find your true people or people that are really high frequency souls, you realize that the people you put yourself in their palms of their hands to receive their approval, you became a different person to be seen by others or to be seen by the one person you want to be seen by or whatever. And you start to shapeshift your personality just to be digestible. It doesn't serve you. It might send you off on the right healing path like it did for me. Like I'm very multifaceted and I know that. But when you find your true soul family and soul tribe, like those people will see you and it will remind you how good it feels to be who you are. And if you can't be who you are around people you are surrounded by, then maybe they're not your people. And it's okay. It's okay. I have tried to keep others safe by keeping myself small, and I am learning how destructive that is because I'm a big fucking person. I love really big, and it sometimes makes people feel uncomfortable. So I've learned to love really small and to hide it. And I'm realizing that when you do that, you miss out on the people that are meant for you. And it shows that the work I have been doing has attracted me. I changed my frequency. Therefore, life reflected back to me the same frequency. And boy, did I step into a higher fucking frequency. And I really want to inspire you to find your own frequency and to do the same. Because it's going to find your people, it's going to find your tribe. Even if you think you know who you should be with, who you should be friends with, and you have to become a different person to be put into that situation or be put with that person, it's gonna backfire. It is gonna backfire, and the only thing hesitating you from you stepping into your true light is the fear of being seen for who you truly are. But once you are seen for who you truly are, it's something you never want to forget. You remember. And that's a feeling not everyone gets to experience. But when you experience that, you never want to act like someone different. Being yourself is one thing, but having the courage to be yourself is a whole nother. And that's what I've learned. I know who I was, but to step into that and to actually have the courage to be who I was, that took a lot of courage, people, because there's fear that holds us back. Fear of abandonment, rejection, and they're just old stories. And I was living in an old story. So today, I have the courage to be myself. And no one, not one thing can take that away from me. And the next thing that tests me, I'll say, hey, thank you. Thank you for the lessons. Thank you for the box of darkness, because it's been the ultimate gift. And when you are put in these situations, you get to finally embody the work you've been doing and become the expert in your life. So I know the work I'm doing is working, and I didn't realize it until I was put in the face of trial. What is that in the Bible? Trial and tribulations. Is that in there? There's probably a lot of potency in that. So, how do you know the work is working? That's what I'm going to leave you with. I'm going to leave you with, how do you know the work is working? What in your life is being reflected back to you that the work you're doing is working? And if you don't think you're doing work, ask, should you be doing work? What even is work? Quote unquote work. What is work? For me, work is doing the shifts that are leading me into my highest self. Okay? That's the work. Choosing to eat healthy because it's for my highest self. Choosing to go to bed early because it's within my highest self. Choosing to address an emotion that I'm facing instead of burying it under the rug, because I know it's going to benefit me if I extract meaning out of it instead of burying it under the rug. That to me is doing the work. It doesn't always have to look like breath work or Reiki or freaking exorcisms. It can, but the work is choosing to make choices that benefit you. It's choosing your higher self over and over and over again. And your ego is only there to bring you higher. Your ego is your best teacher. And if you look at the dark sides of spirituality, they tell you to kill your ego. I say no. I say become best friends with that thing, because it is going to teach you where you need to grow. And my ego this weekend was saying that I wasn't worth it. I wasn't worth it going on this retreat. And I fucking proved it wrong, because I chose my higher self. My higher self said yes. It felt expansive to this retreat. And when I said yes, it made my ego a little bit scared. And then at the end of the retreat, I said, you see, ego, it's okay to feel a little unsafe, because that's when you find your strength. When you test your safety, you find your strength, because it's the ego that's scared. It's the ego that needs safety. It's the ego that lives in fear. And we love that because we need to feel safe. So our ego is guiding us through that. But when you're stepping into something bigger and better, your ego starts to shake like a little chihuahua. It starts to shake and it gets scared, and you just need to remind it that it's okay to be big. It's okay to try new things. It's okay to want more for yourself. And you will be rewarded the more you step into that. Instead of killing your ego, you want to be BFFs with it. Take your ego out on a date. We love that. My ego loves dates. So I feel really grounded, I feel really embodied, and I feel really fucking inspired. I have a lot of stuff I want to share, and I'm doing it in a way that feels proactive, I guess. I'm someone who wants to word vomit everything, and this is probably my Aries moon, like wanting to just have one of those t-shirt guns and like t-shirt gun all my information out and I'm working on doing it in a way that is obviously through me, but it's more grounded. Like I need the Taurus and the Cancer rising energy just to make it come fluid instead of a volcano. I'm a volcano of emotions. I'm a very big volcano of emotions and I love and admire that about myself, but at the same time, like I want to come off understandable because, you know, one of the lessons in this life is learning the stuff I know, but for it to come out effortlessly so people can understand it because I care about you and my heart is on my sleeve and my intention is for it to be beautiful. But who knows? That could be my ego talking. Anyways, that was a great talk. So I'm going to leave you with that. I had a great weekend and I'm doing really, really good. How's that for you, people? And go listen to some music. Go put on a playlist you like and you go dance. I'm telling you to do that. Okay, everyone. Bye.